Let me give it a minute so people get the notification and join the live stream. First bronze here. How are you guys doing? Did you catch the last live stream that I did at the Kirtland Temple? You may want to go watch that. I uh, I did a live stream, but I also took like as I was taking the live stream with one phone, I took like another video with another phone. Um, the live stream was up and down. The other video that I took is like landscape. Yeah, I'm gonna put that up, just so you can have like a different view. It always annoys me when people take videos up and down. I think for live streams it's appropriate. It's easier, but in order to get a better experience, usually landscape is or sideways is the better way to do it. So I'm gonna post that. I'm gonna post it on Facebook. I'm gonna post it on YouTube. Oh my gosh, you guys, you guys. Oh, I just had an experience. I feel okay, sorry. I feel like what came to mind was, the experience that Moses had in the book of Moses when he was translated and he was in the presence of God. Joseph Smith, after the first vision. So after having this encounter with God, Moses and Joseph Smith, afterwards, their bodies were like left without energy. They had to like recover their strength. And I'm not claiming to have been translated, but I definitely felt close to God during that experience. I think a lot of people did, judging from the conversations that I had with a lot of people that were there. A lot of you guys. I didn't expect to come across so many viewers and subscribers, but I'm gonna I'm gonna post those pictures in the next day or two. I came across a lot of you, and oh my god, uh, um, like I was expecting it to be an incredible experience. Of course, I knew it was gonna be special, ultra rare. Like this isn't gonna happen again anytime soon. Under these kind of circumstances after the 2017 eclipse, which that by itself was very special. It was ultra rare. I knew it was going to be good and special, and I knew it was going to be intense, but I wasn't ready for how like how intense that was. I'm not one to cry on the channel, but I couldn't help myself. And it's not because of pride. I that's like a whole nother conversation when it comes to crying. Um, I've become kind of like uncomfortable when it comes to like public crying. Not that I think it's bad, but it's complicated. So just don't worry about it. I think it's fine when people cry, but I have a problem with like crying, and I usually try and hold it back, but not because I'm like a manly man. It just so. But I remember with the 2017 eclipse, there was like I think it was the Weather Channel. They had a reporter that was somewhere, to view the eclipse, and I don't know if she was live, but you've probably seen this before. Just like look it up, 2017 eclipse and reporter cries. But she was reporting, and as she was reporting, she started just crying uncontrollably. Uh, and I thought like, oh, she's a woman, and they're more emotional, sensitive to things like this, and that was a spiritual experience. So I just kind of like laughed at it, not like making fun of her, but just like, oh, that's to be expected, I guess. But but that but that happened to me. It like what just happened was Probably well, unless we'll see what happens at the second coming. I expect to be alive for the second coming unless I have an untimely death. But from now until the second coming, and for all my life going back, this is probably the closest I've ever been to any sort of like Pentecostal experience. I didn't see angels or anything like that. I doubt anybody else did either. If you did, and if you feel comfortable, let me know. But I definitely felt the presence of the Lord there. The Spirit was very strong. It felt very Pentecostal as I was having my own experience and I saw everybody else. Like the energy was like so strong there. For many different reasons. Like a big part of that is that the church now owns the Kirtland Temple. You know, and I can't. I don't think I can like really convey the feelings of going into the visitor center and seeing those paintings there of Christ, on top of the pulpits, uh, talking to Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery, and there was another one there. I'm not sure who it was depicting in the other one. And then having our missionaries be the ones to give the tour and talk about those sacred things that, to my understanding, they didn't really talk about when it was under the Community of Christ. And I don't think, maybe like in the early, like our LDS Church and Community of Christ, maybe they believe those things more, but I don't think that they do so much now. That's my understanding. Um, but to have that restored, to have those stories told again in the Kirtland Temple every day, that's a miracle, and it like brings the spirit back to the temple. And I'm sure some of you already know this, but like when you go through the tour, the last part of it. So, well, the way it went for us, like first we went up to the third floor, and we saw like where Joseph Smith had his office and other rooms that were there. And then we went down to the middle floor, the second floor, and it's like an assembly room. It has the pulpits on one side and the pulpits on the other side for the Melchizedek and the Aaronic priesthood. But then you go down to the first floor, and it's the same thing. It's another assembly room. There's difference in like style, like the craftsmanship, but they're essentially parallel rooms. I've done a video about that before, by the way. I'll probably do another one now that I went to see it myself. But when you get down to the first floor, they have you sit in the pews and they have you sing the Spirit of God. And if you follow me on Facebook, go there, or well, no, I put it on Instagram too. Go to my Facebook or Instagram for Christian Homestead and watch the story that I put. I got some of it where we were singing. It's like a video of like looking at the pulpits and then all of us singing Spirit of God. And I had a realization. I was just talking to Jenica about it as we were driving back here to where we're staying. That the Spirit of God, uh, in that hymn, you have like not the official, but you have the words of the Hosanna shout in that hymn. I'm sure some of you already have realized that. So now that the church has possession of the Kirtland Temple again, and with each tour, they basically have these like unofficial Hosanna shouts by singing the Spirit of God. That kind of blew me away uh, when I realized that. Give me just 1 second. Can you call Naomi? I need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Okay, there we go. Do Not Disturb. Having a spiritual experience right now. So, um, going through the tour was like it was it just it was amazing, and I really think that every member of the church, if they can, should go and take that tour. You know, just like how Muslims are supposed to go to Mecca once in their lives and do the Hajj, I think that members of the church right now should they owe it to themselves to go and see the Kirtland Temple because it's a very unique experience. You're not going to experience it other places. The Kirtland Temple is one of a kind. In the millennium, I think that we'll have more temples like that. I won't get into that here. Again, the New Jerusalem was supposed to have 24 temples that were essentially patterned after the Kirtland Temple, the same style, the same look. So I expect that to maybe become more commonplace in the millennium. I don't know. But for right now, it's one of a kind. And it is just, it is well worth it. And so having experienced that, and then going outside and like on temple grounds, like having just all these families, on the beautiful green grass, in the pretty temple gardens or temple um, grounds, families, everybody just like happy and in a good mood, and children playing, and just all this knowing that we're going to experience something that's one of a kind in this eclipse. It's really rare. And I think that's why like this played out the way that it did, that I was able to come up here. Because I'm just gonna say it again. Here's the story. Okay, here's the story. I feel like it was a miracle that we even came here. In September, we went to Kansas City. That was my first time to go see Independence and stuff like that. Okay, whatever. And then these last couple months, we went up to Adirondack on one trip. We stayed with Tamara and her husband Jared. They live right there by Adirondack. She took us to Far West and Hans Mill and then Adirondack, and that was incredible. And then after that, a few weeks later, we went to Independence to take our kids to go see Independence and Liberty Jail. And it was already a lot of traveling. And traveling, it gives me anxiety. Like ever since the army, I've had a hard time traveling. I get like just anxiety. I get kind of like panicky. Um, and so we were planning on going to Arkansas, which was only 5 hours away. It was like the closest. And we were going to go to a place called Russellville, like President Nelson, Russellville. I thought that was perfect. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to be able to share it with all of you. We're in Russellville. Um, well, so I had put out this invitation, and the invitation is still open for like women that want to start a YouTube channel, because I want to try and promote that, because women are really important right now in gathering scattered Israel, according to Spencer W. Kimball and President Nelson. And so I got a bunch of responses, and I didn't want to like respond right away. I wanted it to wait like a few weeks, so they would have time to like start their channel, do videos and stuff. And so just one day last week, I had done a video before conference that did really well. And I was like, oh, okay, this video is getting a lot of views. I'm not going to put out another video today. Instead, I think I'll go ahead and I'll check emails. Like maybe now's the time to check these emails. And so I checked the first one, and it was from Jessica. She lives here in Ohio. And excuse me. And I contacted her, and I got through. And at that very moment, she was taking the tour of the Kirtland Temple. And I was like, what? Of all times, like I just randomly, like today's a day when I can, start reaching out to some of these women. Like, you're taking the tour of the Kirtland Temple right now? And then on Facebook, there's another subscriber, Beth Jukes. I think she's going to be doing a channel. And she put on my Facebook, like, guess where I'm at right now? And she showed a picture of the Kirtland Temple. And Beth is friends with a girl that I dated back in high school. And she's like, oh, and Megan's coming too. I was like, what? So I had just contacted two people randomly that were going to the Kirtland Temple that day. So I talked to Jessica, and she was like, we talked about, doing an interview and stuff. And she was like, oh, you can come up anytime you want to, come up and see the church sites. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then later that day, me and Jenica went out for a drive and was feeling good. It was a good day. And the thought came to mind, like, maybe you should take Jessica up on her offer and go to the Kirtland Temple for the eclipse. Now, normally I would just be like, no, 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 that's too extreme. I cannot do that. Um, I feel like usually when it comes to spiritual things, a lot of times it's like it's like measured, or it's like line upon line, precept upon precept. Very rarely are there times where like there's like these like really dramatic things that take place. But this was one of those times. I talked to Jenica about it. She felt good. I felt good. And the snowball started rolling. And that night I contacted Jessica, and I was like, hey, maybe we'll take you up on that offer. Can we come up there during the eclipse? And she's like, oh, no, I have a friend coming up from North Carolina, so we're not going to have room, but I'll look into it tomorrow. See if I can find a place that you guys can stay. I was like, well, okay, it's no big deal. It's like a far drive anyway. Instead of 5 hours, it's going to be 16 hours. And so just like 30 minutes later, she contacted us back. She's like, hey, I have a house for you. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, we have someone in our ward. They just went on vacation to the Dominican Republic, and I contacted them, and they say their house is for you. You can totally stay there. And I was just like, oh my gosh, because it's like all booked up here in Ohio. If like you find a room like at a hotel, it's going to be pretty expensive because of the eclipse. And so we like started thinking about it, and then Jenica's like, okay, so should we get a rental car? And I was just like, okay, this is going really fast. Like I don't know, is this a good idea? Because like we need money to buy cows later this month. That was like the plan, was to buy some cows. But I got to thinking about it and feeling the spirit, and one thing led to another, and we got the car and we came here, and everything that could go right did go right, all the way up until right now as I'm speaking to you. Like, one thing that happened was I was concerned about if we were going to be able to watch the eclipse at the Kirtland Temple. Would we have a place to park? In fact, I did that one live stream where I'm like, hey, I'm going to the Kirtland Temple to watch the eclipse. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't have said that, because now maybe more people are going to want to come, and then I won't have a place to park. So I didn't want to talk about it too much after that. So we came here really early in the morning, you know, or to the Kirtland Temple. Woke up really early, got there like at 7:30, and there was like nobody there. You know, it was like overcast, and it was sprinkling a little bit, and it was cold, but there was like nobody there. The visitor center wasn't open yet, and so I started like, my wife and kids, they stayed in the car, and I was thinking, well, no, I was at first, I was like, okay, there's no one here. What are we gonna do for like 7 hours or more, or however many hours it was? Like, we brought some games, but I was like, are we just gonna like go on temple grounds and just like sit there and play games for all these hours? So they were tired when we parked, and they're like, we're gonna take a nap in the car. And I was like, okay, this is perfect. I'll go do a live stream. I'll take all the pictures I want to take and stuff. And so that's what I did. And then I saw cars after like about an hour or two, cars starting to go into the parking lot for the visitor center. And I was like, oh shoot, I need to like go get the family right now, or else like we're not, it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna take a while before we get to do the tour. So I went and got them, we parked, and the missionaries were like, okay, once you're done with the tour, please don't park here, go park somewhere else. And I was just like, and they were like, don't park over at the Community of Christ Chapel, which is where we were parked, and don't park at the school. And I was like, what? Well, what? So am I not going to be able to watch the eclipse then? But whatever. So we took the tour. Um, and we didn't get like in the first one, it was like the second one, but we went and had all the experiences and stuff. And then after we were done, excuse me, um, Jessica had said earlier that day that they wanted to come and hang out with us and like come to the Kirtland Temple. And it turned out the school was okay with it. You were able to park there, and there was plenty of parking. And then Jessica came, and her and Melanie, who was visiting from North Carolina, them and their teenagers that became really good friends with our kids the day before, they were there, and we were able just to hang out all the way till the eclipse. So like everything was taken care of. I was like really nervous about like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have nothing to do for all these hours, but they were there, and they had kids our age, or our kids' age. And anyway, it just like everything went right. You know, the trip here was not as bad as I thought. It was like smooth sailing. We got a really nice rental car that's very comfortable and has all the bells and whistles. So, and then, you know, there was the climax, the eclipse itself. And like I said, it's probably the closest I'll ever get until the second coming itself. The closest I'll ever get to having like a Pentecostal experience. Just everybody there was just, the place was so full of energy and the spirit. And um, I just feel like we are now in some kind of new place as a church and in the world. Spiritually, it probably has to do with the second coming. I don't know. I can't help but to think back to Elder Stevenson's talk about bridges, and he used the word bookends to describe the two towers of a bridge, how they're like bookends, and how, you know, maybe that's a clue as we're looking at these different bookends of President Nelson's presidency that we've been tracking, which include these eclipses. Maybe it's a bridge. We were on one side of the bridge before 2017. Between 2017 and now, we're on the bridge, and then now after today, maybe we're on the other side of that bridge. And I don't know what the bridge represents. If this is a correct interpretation, excuse me, but it seems like I feel like something happened today. I think something very special, a very big sign was given today. A very important heavenly sign. And to have that experience, that like Pentecostal experience at the Kirtland Temple, where when it was dedicated, there was a, incredible Pentecostal experiences, like actual Pentecostal experiences. It was just something else. And it's going to take me, I think it's going to take me a long time to process this. It's like exhausted me, like on a spiritual level, emotional, spiritual, everything, physical, psychological, all of it. Um, but like just talking to all the people that were there, it felt it felt like a very like Zion moment. It felt like we were all one. The majority of the people there were most likely members of the church. There were probably some that weren't, but you had all these covenant people together at the Kirtland Temple a month after the Kirtland Temple comes back into the possession of the church, and then experiencing this heavenly manifestation uh, that you was a sign from the Lord, Him communicating to us. It felt like a Zion moment. I felt very comfortable with everybody that was there. Like I felt like I could just like go talk to anybody as though they were family. It felt like a big family was together watching the eclipse. It was so friendly, and it just felt like that place was like so full of love. And like I said, I came across some of you, uh, more than I could count. I was counting, but then like after seven, not intentionally, by the way, in this case, seven arbitrary. Well, anyway, after seven, I couldn't count how many people recognized me, and I talked to them, and just we had these like special little conversations, and we were just enjoying each other's presence and meeting each other, and it really filled my heart with like love. you know it's so different. It makes such a difference, like actually meeting you guys, and again, not just like reading text on a screen. You can still feel a person's spirit by reading their comments, but like meeting someone in person is much more different, and it gives me such better perspective. And I feel like it's given me unprecedented access to members of the church that I didn't have before. To so like whenever whenever there's like a general authority that goes somewhere and they talk to the people of like Peru or someplace like that, and they're like, we feel your spirit and your love and whatever. To me, I've always just been like, well, okay, those are just like general words, but I feel like now I understand like feeling that love for all of you, because I've actually gotten to meet you, and I have been able to see like your faith and love and devotion to the gospel, you know. So it's, oh my gosh, it's so wild right now. I I'm gonna I'm gonna sleep well tonight. Have a long drive tomorrow, but I'm so happy that I have that video and that we can look back at it, remember it. I've never there's very few times in my life, very few, where the spirit has been so intense, like so, like uh, just like I can't even. This would be like in the top three of my life. I think this would be like in the top three, like most spiritual experiences that I've ever had, at least as far as like intensity goes. Oh, gosh, freak. Okay, Ian Johnson was watching where the eclipse happened. It was a very surreal feeling. Yes, it was. Jessica Bart, super cool, smiley face with sunglasses, or maybe it's eclipse glasses. MF, let's see. Give me just a second to take care of something. Plaid, worried I didn't feel moved to take the trip to the path of the total eclipse. Does it say something about me if I didn't go there in person? Doubting myself so much now it's too. No, no, of course not. No, I mean, that's part of the reason why I came here. I think it wasn't just like, I don't think Heavenly Father was just like, hey, do your family want to have an amazing experience? It was for me to share with everybody that couldn't be there, you know. Um, no, it doesn't say anything about your spirituality. It's just a blessing and a privilege if you're able to do it. Brandon Potter, I watched the partial eclipse at my friend's house a few times during the first hour and a half. I was taking, I was out taking 7 buses today from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I bought new shoes though. I bought new shoes too. Cool. Home in Christ. I felt the Spirit today as well, not during your video, but when it started to get dark where I am. I went outside and took a picture of the sun being covered by a cloud, though how firm a foundation, or thought how firm a foundation. Jessica Bart, love it. Glad you guys got to experience. Jordan, that's beautiful, Jared. I know exactly what you mean. I've started my Pentecostal experience since early March, and I know uh, how general authorities say that about the feeling. Thomas Wheeler, I almost expected to see angels walking on the temple. Yeah, no kidding. I wouldn't have been surprised at this point. At this point, nothing will surprise me. These last couple months have just been filled with amazing things. It's like President Nelson said. The members of the church will experience, what is it? Privileges, blessings, and miracles between now and the time that Christ returns. And today was a big one. Brandon Chris, I felt that spirit watching your live stream. Thank you. Rod Turple got got some cool pics, emails. Sorry, email some to you. Greg Brown, think of the reaction in how awesome. Now imagine if that was Christ returning. I know. I know. I would not have been surprised. In fact, I'm surprised that nobody started like speaking in tongues when that happened. Like when everybody was cheering, and I know that they, you go to any eclipse and you're probably gonna have people that like, you know, cheer and stuff, but like I don't think it was the same as here. Like because here it was not just like general excitement about the eclipse. Like it was mixed in heavily with the spirit, because many of those people that were there had gone through and done the tour of the Kirtland Temple. So all of us were like, I'm sure, on just like a spiritual high from experiencing the tour and then watching the eclipse right after. My gosh. Okay. Oh, Tamara's here. This is the girl that let me stay at her. Me and my family stay at her house. Her and her husband Jared at Adamonde. So glad you went after all. Yeah, and it was because you guys. It was because of Tamara. When we went up to Adamonde, there was a point where we were just like sitting in her living room and talking, and I think it was Jared. He just started talking about the eclipse, and he was like, "Are you guys gonna go to the eclipse?" And I was like, no, I don't think so. Like we're gas and travel and just coming here to Adamonte, like we just did this trip and whatever." But like they were talking about their experience in Idaho. They had experienced the 2017 eclipse, and they took a video of it and showed it to us, and that's what planted the seed for me. Like I started really thinking about it, and I think I was feeling the spirit, and they were talking about how, like the video doesn't necessarily do it justice, but like the biggest thing is like the reaction of them and their family, just the reaction that they had to the eclipse. And that was very true. That was very, very true. It's the human reaction to the eclipse. It's the Lord utilizing this phenomena to communicate to us. We may not know specifically what it means, other than it's something very special is happening right now. It may require 2020 hindsight to look back and be like, oh my gosh, this whole time, that's what this like truly, really meant. But anyway, it was Tamara and Jared that I'm not sure if I would have like really considered doing it if it wasn't for them. Because like Jared was like looking at the map, he's like, yeah, for you guys, you'd probably like just go to Arkansas. And then I started thinking about it and like, oh yeah, that would only be like 5 hours. We could just like make a day trip out of that. And I put that thing on social media like, hey, does anybody want to meet up for the eclipse in Arkansas? I'm going to be in this general area. And then there were a few people that responded. Two of them had to back out. At first they thought that they could make it, but then they didn't. And my criteria was ideally we'd like to meet with some people that have some teenagers, because we have two teenage girls, and it would just like work out well, you know, if we're like roughly the same age with teenagers. But then this opened up and we came here, and without asking for it or planning on it, we had two families that joined us at the Kirtland Temple with teenagers. It just worked out that way. And because they were there, we weren't sitting there bored the whole time. We were in good company, and it was just we were able to like share that experience together. So anyway, thank you, Tamara. I don't think this would have happened if it wasn't for you and your generous offer to have us up there at Adamonte, and that was a very special experience too. I'm like I'm like on spiritual overload at this point. Like if I have any more experiences like this, any more church sites or something, it could kill me. I might die. I either that, or I would have to be translated to withstand whatever else.
Don't forget to say we probably wouldn't have done all these trips if it wasn't for your subscribers too.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't have done most of these trips if it wasn't for you guys. Because there's that we would want to go for ourselves, but there's that additional incentive to go and then share it with you. So it's been a pleasure to do that. Shannon, oh, if it brings if it brings people to Christ, great. Thomas Wheeler, no conspiracies, just personal feelings. Angel Domingos, watched it from the southern hemisphere through you. Thank you, Jared. Felt the spirit through your video, which I doubt I would have felt watching it on the news. Yeah, I agree. I'm not like bragging, but like it watching it through another member of the church's live stream. Yeah. Yeah. Sally Wardle, take your vitamins. Yeah. Yeah, seriously. A rich Cheshire cat. So I wonder how many people noticed or paid any attention to the devil comet while so many people were standing there gazing at the sun, or sun, S-O-N, in parentheses. That's a good question. I'm not sure that I would have been able to, or anybody there would have been able to see it with the naked eye.
No, we looked for it. Jessica said you couldn't see it. You can only see it at 11 a.m.
Oh, I don't know if you heard Jenica, but she said that Jessica said that you would only be able to see it like at 11 a.m. I guess if you were in the path of totality at that. What? At 11 a.m.?
11 a.m. Yeah, she looked it up or something. I don't know. I'm a little confused, but you couldn't see it.
Okay, well, whatever. The only thing that I saw is what I think. Now that I think about it, maybe it wasn't Jupiter. Maybe it was some other planet. If you know, put it in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this after the live stream. But I saw a planet. I just don't know which one it was. I didn't see any stars. But there were a surprise. Well, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. There were a lot of people there that had like telescopes and stuff. So maybe some of them saw it. Ray Conger saw 2 hours east in Jamestown, New York, from an LDS meeting house parking lot. Cloudy. I had to put on a coat as it got cold. I could hear night crickets. We found ourselves with 4 others, 2 members, 2 none. That's neat. I'm glad that you're able to share that with some other people. I feel like an eclipse ideally is like a group event. It's the experience is heightened by experiencing it with other people. Like I was kind of like blown away by. So when we were in the school parking lot, we were hanging out there for a while, eating snacks, talking to Jessica and Melanie and their families, and we were getting ready to head over to the temple, and I could feel like a difference in the air, and it was probably partially the temperature, but it was also like a feeling. I don't know if it was like my body or my spirit, but like something felt weird in the air, almost like I guess eerie. You know, that's what a lot of people have the word a lot of people have used to describe it. It was kind of eerie, not necessarily in a bad way, but just like, or maybe another term you could use is like otherworldly. So just a few minutes after it started, and I'm not talking about totality, because like it starts like an hour before totality. That's when you start to experience those changes. I could feel it immediately, and then I looked at the phone to like look up the details, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it already started!" And then we looked up with using our Eclipse glasses and confirmed it visually. But from that point all the way till the end, I was amazed at like the like spectrum of lighting conditions from beginning to end, like how moment by moment the light just like kept changing, and even like right after totality, like it seemed like there was a different light at that point than immediately before. Like the light afterwards seemed like really white. I don't know if that's because like your eyes are adjusting at that point, or I don't know why it was, but it seemed like the light immediately before was different from the light immediately after. But just the colors, the lighting, the like the palpable feel in the air, the feeling in the air, it was it was unlike anything else that I've ever expected, and it was more than I expected. I didn't think it was going to be cool. I didn't think it was going to be that intense. Neither feeling it, sensing it, nor like emotionally and spiritually. Oh my gosh. Let me. Sorry, I need to adjust. Okay, my my arm is. Ow! My arm is falling asleep. Oh, good. Mindy's here. She says, "Welcome, Cindy." New member Seth Stewart. All right. Welcome, Seth. Okay. Catch up with the chat here. Cabria. Oh, Cabria's here. Um, so happy you got the chance to go both to the temple and the eclipse. Thank you. Me too. I was like really worried about like how many people were going to be there because on the before we even took off, we knew that there was going to be traffic. Everyone talks about how all these people are coming to see the eclipse, and then on the drive there were all these like signs on the highways, like expect eclipse traffic and plan ahead, fill up your tank, um, arrive early, leave late, stuff like that. And the whole time I was like just kind of like going on faith that we'd be able to get to the temple. I felt like we would, but I was like, well, if we don't get to the temple because it's so busy, because there's no parking, then um, at least we'll like be in the path of totality. If worst comes to worst, we'll watch it from here, from Tracy and Corey's house. Those are the people whose house this is. Uh, but no, it all worked out. And it seems like anybody that wanted to go to see it at Kirtland was able to go because the school that's like by there's like an elementary school. The parking lot wasn't completely full. There was a lot of people, but anybody that wanted to go could have gone as far as like parking goes. Seth. Seth Stewart. And before the day of the Lord shall come, the sun shall be darkened, and the remnant shall be gathered unto this place. Yes. There were a lot of people that were like talking about scriptures like that. There were a lot of people that were definitely like recognizing this as a sign. I think everybody. I don't think I heard anybody say like, "Oh, it's just an eclipse." Like, and the people that talked about it being a sign, they really seemed to really believe it was a sign. Oh, I still feel it like I still feel it like at my core. Like when like you get like really startled, like you get really scared all of a sudden, and you feel the adrenaline in your heart pumping for a while afterwards. Like that's how I feel right now, but spiritually, and not well, maybe a little startled. Yeah, maybe I am a little bit startled, but uh, I'm telling you, this is going to be an unforgettable experience. And even though you weren't here, or at least most of you weren't here, I hope that it was for for you too. I hope I was able to get good enough footage for you, and I hope we don't forget it because I don't think that we should. I think that we should pay attention to what just happened. And I'm choosing to look at it. It makes sense to me to look at it like Elder Stevenson said when he was talking about bookends, that it was more like a bridge. I think that's the view that I'm going to adopt for right now. Shauna Morgan, it was so powerful to be with you and your family for this eclipse today. Thank you for the live stream. You're welcome. I hope it gave you value. I hope everyone was able to enjoy it. There were plenty of people there, as you saw in the video. There was a lot. It wasn't like so packed that everyone was standing. There you could be there. You were able to be there comfortably, but there were a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of people took. Well, obviously, a lot of people took video and picture. I don't know how many necessarily did it like me, where I was like going back and forth between the temple and the eclipse, and then the crowd that was around there. So, but I just hope that it was special for you if you weren't able to go. Plaid says maybe maybe you're feeling okay. Maybe your feeling is some of what Joseph Smith felt that drained him when he witnessed the heavenly visitation. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like at the first part of this live stream, like that came to mind. Joseph Smith and Moses, whenever they were in the presence of the Lord, feeling like drained afterwards. Um, Again, as far as I know, I wasn't translated during that experience, but it I definitely feel like we were all in the presence of God during that moment at the Kirtland Temple, and the intensity, like the experience was so like rich. It was so spiritually rich and dense and compact. I've never experienced anything like it in my life. My gosh. De La Solis, I was watching a new station broadcast of the eclipse while also watching your live stream, and the reporter made the comment that it was like a sign from God. Well, they are not wrong. They are not wrong. Cubby White, what did what did your kids and Jenica think? Also, how do we spell Jenica's name? Just like that, but just one N. Honey, do you want to come say what? Just say really quick what your experience was like.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Stop. For me, it was very surreal. I never experienced anything like that before. It was fun. I was with the kids, so it was fun to experience that with them. Benjamin our youngest, our autistic son, got really excited. So it was fun to see his reaction and his yelling and screaming when it happened. He called it a black hole, which was really cute. For me, I didn't get emotional like Jared, but I got really excited, and I think I really felt the spirit since being there. A lot of things since being there at the temple and feeling everything work out as it did for our trip. Really felt like everything came together, and I just from Heavenly Father. So I had some of the same feelings he did. Like all of us were gathered there together. It was like a family. It felt to me like the veil was a little thinner there, and that I could have easily gone up to someone and just given them a casual hug, because I just felt not personally close, but just a little closer to everybody. And it was like just a little more family like. It was really cool. Like,
It felt like millennial, I
yeah,
guess.
it really did. It was really special, and everyone just being there together and celebrating together, and it was very special. And that was what I really took away from it. And um yeah, that was my experience. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
And I was so happy to be able to take our kids to go see it. Um if you haven't, I really think that you should, if you have kids, grandkids, something that's like children to you, uh take them to church sites that are near you. I know that going to these places is having an effect on my kids. They're actually right now, they're not here. They're at uh, Jessica's house, so I can talk openly about this, and they won't give me a hard time. I know that it's really been having an effect on them. You know, sometimes like we feel bad in our household that we don't do come follow me more often, or have spiritual lessons. That's something that we should and can improve upon. But this is one really big thing that you can do, is take your kids to these places and be in these like sacred places. And it like I've said before, just in general, it's one thing to read about the Kirtland Temple. You know, I've known about the Kirtland Temple my entire life, and it's always just kind of been like, yeah, just like out there. And then once I started my channel, it's become more and more relevant. But then actually going there, it makes all the difference. So if you can, you know, maybe instead of like choosing to go to a theme park or a cruise or something like that, go to the church sites and take your family with you, your family, your friends, because it's like irreplaceable, you know. The missionary, when we started our tour, okay, so you go in the visitor center and then they take you into this room. It's like you know, like a little auditorium with like seats, kind of a, not really auditorium, but like a, you know, big room with a bunch of seats and big glass windows, uh, where you're like looking through them at the Kirtland Temple. It's kind of like how, if you've ever been to the South Visitor Center of the Salt Lake Temple, how there was that area that had like the big windows and it had a really good view of the Salt Lake Temple. It's like that. So when we were in there and he was like doing the like his intro to the tour, he was like, "I'm warning you right now that once you do this tour, the Kirtland Temple is going to become your favorite temple." And you know, I was just like, "Oh, okay, of course, whatever." But it kind of is for me now. I've never had such an appreciation for the Kirtland Temple as I do now, because like when you're there and you can see all the rooms and like it feels like you're going back in time. Um, it I don't know, going up and down the stair, like all the details, all the rooms, the pulpits. Oh, and by the way, this is something that I think I had read it somewhere, but it didn't really stick in my mind. In Tamra, uh, the girl up at Adamondayaman, she brought up the fact that you may or may not know this. Let me know in the chat or in the comments. But at Adamondayaman, when it was like first identified by Joseph Smith, they had found like the stone altar that Adam had used for sacrifices, and that stone altar uh, was in the pattern of, you know, the pulpits in the Kirtland Temple, how there's like these three tiers, like these three levels of pulpits. It was like in that same pattern. You know, I'm gonna do a video about it. I'll show you where you can find that. Um, I can't remember at the moment, but like you know, it says it somewhere. I'll find that source. But so like when you're in the Kirtland Temple, or if you're in the Salt Lake Temple in the assembly room. I've never been into the assembly room of the Salt Lake Temple or any assembly room, but these temples that have assembly rooms, like Salt Lake, St. George, Washington D.C., Los Angeles. I think Los Angeles Temple has an assembly room. I'm not sure, but they have like the pulpits, and it's almost like they're not really pulpits, like they are. You have that they like represent the different offices of the priesthood, but they're patterned after uh, the original altar that Adam used in Adamondayaman. So they're not just like these odd features. Before I learned that, I was like, what? Why are there like these pulpits that look like this? They really look unusual and they stand out. But that's the reason why. So it was just really amazing, never having been in an assembly room of any temple, to like be where these original pulpits were in are the first of these type of pulpits in our dispensation in the Kirtland Temple. And I love them. They're beautiful. So, and that's where Christ and Moses and Elijah they like stood on basically above those pulpits. Mindy says LA does have assembly room. Okay, good. I thought so. Alex Wallingford, Manti has an assembly room, and they are tiered as well. Yep. Yeah, I'm sure that the Logan does. Manti, Logan, St. George, the Pioneer era temples. At some point, they stopped doing it. Um, yeah, I'm gonna do like a rerun video. I'm gonna do like an updated version of a video I did a while ago. How there's actually like with these like assembly rooms, excuse me, especially with the Kirtland Temple. There's a similarity between that temple and Solomon's temple and the second temple, because a lot of people don't know that you had like the first floor where you had um, the sanctuary, where you had the menorah and you had the showbread table in the uh, altar for incense, and then the Holy of Holies. So you had like that bottom floor rectangular, but then above it was a parallel like floor, a second floor with the same dimensions, but nothing up there. Nothing up there. And I did a really interesting video about Cleon Skousen and how he essentially consulted with the temple, what I think was the Temple Institute at the time, because he was talking about Ezekiel's temple and how it's supposed to be patterned and it has that feature. And Cleon Skousen told them, they're like, well, what would we use those rooms for? And Cleon Skousen was like, well, that's what Messiah is going to tell you when he comes. But I think that there's like that similarity between the Kirtland Temple and those temples, those Jerusalem temples. And I don't know if there's like some kind of symbol. There's obviously probably some kind of symbolism behind that. And what it makes me think of is like you have the bottom floor, which is like earth, and then the parallel one above it, which is like heaven. I think it's not doctrine. But I think that's maybe what it is. I think it's something like that. Alex Wallingford. Speaking of last dispensation, sometimes I get nervous he will never come, but how comforting it is to know that this is the last dispensation. His coming is imminent. I know. I wish I could say for sure that I promise you that he is going to come soon. I can't, but I very strongly feel it. You know, after doing this, feel free to binge all my videos. There's too much to put into just one video, but I think there's very good reason to believe that it's soon. Diana Freeman, Kane, the best thing for depression is exercise. Okay. Anya Spackman, Ramadan ends tomorrow. Twinkling stars. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's been surprising to me that not more has happened, like by way of like violence over the Temple Mount during Ramadan. But it seems to have largely come and gone without incident. But who knows what'll happen afterwards? Who knows what's going to happen during Passover, after Passover? I talked to Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz, and he thinks that the ceremony of the red heifers will take place this year. But anyway, let's get back to the Kirtland Temple. Plaid, President Nelson talking about the three important events at Kirtland and having us ponder those three in personal ways. Then today, it feels powerful. Um, we'll be studying Kirtland dedicate. We'll be studying Kirtland dedicatory prayer also. Yeah, my mind right now is more on the Kirtland Temple than it has ever been, and it probably is going to be like that for a while, because I think that we're talking about the first temple in hundreds of years. If you don't include the Nephite temples, because as far as I know, we don't have a date when the last Nephite temple was destroyed, or whatever. But so in about a couple thousand years, whatever, 1600 years, something like that, this is the first temple. This is like how this all started. I mean, it all started in New York and whatever, but as far as like temples go, it all started in Kirtland. So having this temple come back, be restored to us, is no small thing. And I don't think I already said it in this live stream, but the missionaries said that as far as like the church is concerned, the Kirtland Temple does not have to be dedicated again. It's still uh, good with its current status, having been dedicated by Joseph Smith. Now, it's not. My thought is it's not like commissioned as a temple the way that we have these other temples where we do the ordinances of salvation. The Kirtland Temple wasn't designed for that. Although, like I said, I think that it might be commissioned during the millennium for uh, other purposes during the millennium. Um, but anyway, the dedication that it currently has is still good. I didn't know that until this trip. So if you had that question, it's still running under the original dedication. TAFIAT or Tafiat says President Nelson encourages us to study the Kirtland Temple dedicatory prayer. And the next day you go there during a solar eclipse. Holy cow. Yeah, I'm really studying it. That's how serious I am about studying it. Just kidding. C.S. Luau. Hi, Jared. Glad you all had a good day. I had to work. Frowny face. I still went out and did the pinhole through a piece of cardboard thing. I have a theory about the eclipse. Come follow CFP, and I have been talking. CFP and I have been talking. And then I saw the 2017 eclipse from a very special place. Did you get to see the live stream? If any of you are watching and you didn't see my live stream, I covered the actual eclipse and the crowd went wild. Seriously. Again, I realize that probably happens at every eclipse, but I don't think in this way. I don't think that the spirit manifests the same way that it did during this event. For me, it felt like a Pentecostal experience. CS excuse me, CS Luau. Nope, I didn't get to see the live stream. I was working. Well, check it out. I'm also gonna while I was doing the live stream on one phone up and down, I had Jenica's phone and I was taking a parallel video landscape sideways. So it's a shortened version. It's just like the eclipse part itself, but I'm gonna upload that in a little while so you can watch that if you'd like, or just watch the live stream. Plus, I'll be putting a bunch of stuff on, mostly on Facebook, but some on Instagram and Twitter. The eclipse, as well as like pictures. I took a bunch of pictures of the Kirtland Temple. Oh, okay. C.S. Lewell says CFP stands for Christian Fire Poppy. So she has her own like acronym now, CFP. So am I just like CH? Do I get one of those? No. Okay, I don't know. Mindy says, C.S. Luau, what's your theory? C.S. Luau, each of the events is like celestial tumblers in a lock. Okay, this is England says, ask, okay. Oops. Okay, thank you, whoever. Oh, thank you, Mindy, for taking care of that. Thank you to all moderators. I don't know if it's just Mindy. I haven't noticed if it's just Mindy right now that's moderating, but if there's any other moderators here, thank you. Oh, guys, I'm tired. I'm going to try and get to bed early. We're going to try and leave early, but I'm not worried about this drive. The drive here was actually surprisingly pleasant and not that stressful, and I'm hoping that it's the same going home. It's going to be nice to go home and just like bring these feelings with me. Oh gosh, it's gonna take me such a long time to process today. I wish there was a way to share how I experienced it with you. Maybe we can do that in the millennium, or maybe we have to wait until we're resurrected. Let's see. Hannah Nicole, hello. In our in our petard, love the stream. Thank you. Hannah Nicole, how are you? Oh, CFP is here. Hey, Jen, do you know that now you're also known as CFP, or did you start that? I don't know. Just got on. Hey there, love the Kirtland vid. Thanks for sharing. Thank you. It was amazing. You may want to watch this live stream from the beginning because we talked about a lot of stuff. I feel like this has been a good conversation. David Colucci, get some sleep. Thank you for the live stream. NRP says, such a spiritual twinkling stars day. So sad I couldn't be there. And he says, hi, CFP, fire. Oh, Greg Brown's here. He's a moderator. That's right. It helps when you're driving a nice vehicle you aren't worried about. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We got the roadside assistance. Like it was just like I feel like we could have done without it, but I just want that peace of mind. I don't want to have to deal with that nonsense. I want to focus on this trip and not that kind of stuff. Jilly, the seven things President Nelson described about the temple, a house of God, etc., and the same seven in the Joseph Smith dedicatory prayer. Yeah, I went over that this morning when I did the first live stream because we read the new sign in front of the Kirtland Temple. Now they've changed it over because it's our church, and they have that scripture, and yeah, I counted it out, and it's seven. Yeah, Hannah Nicole, I subscribe to you. Welcome, Hannah. C.S. Luau, Jared, I'm gonna go now. I'm starving. No, you don't go anywhere. C.S. Luau, no, not till I'm done. Just kidding. Just got home from work. Got a burrito. Oh, and a taco to eat. Smiley face. I will definitely check out the videos from earlier today. Love your show. Get some rest. Thank you. I will. Christian Fire Poppy says CFP. Ha ha ha. That's a first. I like it. It's going to become a thing now. Anya Spackman says now super new moon is on the news. Huh. Let's see. Really? Okay, so it's like a new moon. It's okay. Floyd, yeah, I think I talked to this. Are you the same Floyd from earlier today? Yes, it is. Jared, it was nice to meet you today. This is Floyd. Hope you received the photos I sent you. Yeah, I've been getting a bunch of texts, but I think I know. Yeah, I think I got your text. Hope you received the photos I sent you. So much symbolism in an eclipse. Slow loss of light, cold darkness, then a bright flash of light, and everything renews, and it's all better. Oh, I like that a lot. Yes, I hope that means that that's exactly what's going to happen with like soon with the second coming. That is really good. Ronald Dunlap, we may very well be on the verge of Gog and Magog in the final battle, Armageddon. It could be hours or days away. It could. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we're a little bit over an hour. I I need to start making preparations for the long trip tomorrow. But thank you for joining me. I love you guys. I really do. Meeting you guys, meeting Floyd, meeting everybody like in person is so great, and I really appreciate all of you. Like the more time that goes by, I really do. Thanks for watching and participating, and I appreciate your thoughts and your spirit. And let's just keep watching because I think incredible things are coming our way. I really do. Okay, thank you guys. Have a good night. Have a good rest of your week, and I'll talk to you later.